Multiplying and dividing integers. When you are multiplying or dividing numbers with the same signs, which means either both are going to be positive or both negative, your answer is going to be positive. When you are multiplying or dividing numbers with different signs, one positive and one negative, your answer will be negative. This is true for both multiplying and dividing. Let's practice multiplying. The first example says -6 times +7. Remember, no sign, no negative sign means that a number is positive. Well, here I have a negative times a positive, so my answer is going to be a negative, and 6 times 7 is 42. The second example says -4 times -9. Here I have the same signs because both are negative numbers. A negative times a negative equals a positive. 4 times 9 is 36. The third example says 3 times -8. Here I have a +3 times a -8. When I have a positive times a negative, that means that my signs are different, which means that my answer is going to be negative. And then 3 times 8 is 24. The last example for just multiplying says -5 times -7. Here I have a negative times a negative, which means I have same signs, which means my answer is going to be positive. And 5 times 7 is 35. Now let's practice some dividing. The first example says -18 divided by 2. I have a negative divided by a positive, which means that I have different signs, which means my answer is going to be negative. And 18 divided by 2 is 9, so my answer is -9. The second example says 36 divided by -12. Well, here I have a positive 36 divided by a -12. A positive divided by a negative means I have different signs, which means my answer is going to be negative. And 36 divided by 12 is 3. So my answer is -3. The third example is division. It's read as -14 divided by -7. Here I have a negative divided by a negative, which means that I have same signs, so my answer is going to be positive. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. We're going to try a few more. If you notice in the first example, I have -3 times -4 times -4. So I am multiplying 3 numbers. We're going to just work our way from left to right. So I'm going to start with -3 times -4. I'm going to ignore the second -4 for the moment, but I'm going to bring it down and deal with it in just a minute. -3 times -4. I have same signs, so my answer is going to be positive, and 3 times 4 is 12. And here I've dropped down my second -4. Now I have a positive 12 times a -4, which means that I have different signs, so my answer is going to be a negative, and 12 times 4 is 48. I'm going to use the same method to do the next problem. In this case, I have -2 times -4 times -5 times -1. I'm going to work my way from left to right. So the first multiplication that I'm going to do is -2 times -4. Well, -2 times -4, I have same signs, so it's going to be a positive 8. Notice I've dropped down. I have 8 times -5 times -1 because I haven't multiplied those yet. The next thing I'm going to do is 8 times -5. Well, I have a positive times a negative, which means my answer is going to be negative. And 5 times 8 is 40. Notice I'm bringing it down again, the -1. Now I have -40 times -1. I have 2 negative numbers, which means I have the same sign. So my answer is going to be a positive, and 40 times 1 is 40. The next example, I have 6. Remember, parentheses means multiply. by negative 3 divided by 2. I need to work my way from left to right because the order of operations say I do multiplication and division from left to right. So the first thing that I need to do is 6 times negative 3. I have a positive times a negative, which means my answer is going to be negative, and 6 times 3 is 18. So I have negative 18, and then I still need to divide by 2. Well, in this case, I have a negative divided by a positive, or different signs, so my answer is going to be negative, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. The last example is negative 21 divided by negative 7 times negative 10. Again, I need to work my way from left to right because using the order of operations, that's what I need to do. The first operation that I'm going to perform is negative 21 divided by negative 7. A negative divided by a negative will give me a positive answer, and 21 divided by 7 is 3. Again, I have not multiplied by negative 10 yet, so I'm going to bring the multiplying by negative 10 down. Now I have a positive 3 times a negative 10. A positive times a negative means that my answer is going to be negative, and 3 times 10 is 30. So the final answer is negative 30.